Okay, back from the range. We grabbed a couple of targets that we shot this afternoon. I just wanted to show you the results, talk about the good things about the patterns, the bad things about the patterns, and you know, just try to show you what we look for as we pattern choke tubes and various loads. And so we got pretty good coverage on this one. This was with the upland long range with heavy 12 3-inch number 6s, and overall a pretty good looking pattern. I see a couple of spots that maybe something might have slipped through here and maybe up here. Really depends on the size of your game. If it was a pheasant, yeah, possibility of getting through that. But this is one shot, you know, and generally when you pattern stuff, you a bare minimum of 5 with any given setup. 10 is even better, 15 is even better than that, because what you're looking for is an average overall. You'll never see these holes in this same spot again with this setup. They may move around, you may see none, you may see more from shot to shot, but you have to look at it as an average. And overall, whatever's flying through that is coming to the ground. Not much getting away out of that.
That's right. We look for uniformity, whereas in a turkey load, you're looking for straight density, and you're looking for a whole lot of pellets in a small area. Generally, a 10-inch circle at 40 yards is what the standard that most people go by is. And when you're wing shooting, you want a bigger circle, and you don't want everything so tight. You want to have a uniform blanket, just because those wings are going to be flapping, the bird's going to be moving, and you want to have something a little bit everywhere to catch every little scenario of that bird passing through. And you know, this pattern is a good representation of what we're looking for there, where if a bird's flying from left to right, it's flying from right to left, and it's flying straight up in the air, it's coming straight down, you want to have pellets waiting for it wherever it goes in there.
Yeah, and all we're seeing is a 2D representation of that shot string going down range. It's not a wall of pellets going this way. They're all getting there at a little different time. Very little time between them passing the same spot at any given range. Milliseconds, microseconds. I mean, it's nothing. But this is just a 2D representation of what this shot charge is doing as it travels down range. So if a bird's flying from this way, you know, even though you got a little gap right here, maybe he gets over here a split second later, and then he's smoked, done for. So overall, that's a pretty good pattern. I'd take that each day. Pretty good coverage, and you don't have a lot of grouping together anywhere. Like I said, you do have a hole or two on it, but I bet the next paycheck that you would not see the same thing the next time we pull the trigger with the same setup.
That's right.
After we get done talking about these, we'll zoom in just a little bit, just to give you a little better picture of them. They're not showing up real well in this lighting in here. And then if I can keep the camera from falling over here, this was the let's see what we have here, upland mid-range with heavy metal number 4s, 3-inch ounce and a quarter. That was a little tighter than I'd like to see it. That could be spread out a little bit because you got a hole down here and one up here, but overall, not much is getting through that. The chances of you putting your shot out of this 30-inch pattern, chances of you shooting and missing by that much is not very good. It could happen, absolutely. So they could be a little more spread out. Maybe that particular choke with those loads out of Chad's gun was a little bit tight. And it was also super hot out there today, and that will absolutely affect the way things pattern.
Yeah, I generally like to have my barrels cooled down between shots, I like the temperature out of them. And when I'm really seriously patterning, I clean my barrel between shots. Every single shot, when I'm patterning turkey guns, every single shot I'm cleaning that barrel out in between. So, this was kind of a more rudimentary deal we were doing. We shot again, different targets, but it's 95 degrees or so out today, and so heat plays a factor. One thing to note with this shell is this is a mixture of steel and bismuth pellets, and so you got different densities between the two pellets flying through the air, and that goes back to what we were saying.
Pull the camera up over here while you're talking about that, so they can get a little better look at it.
Yeah, and so with heavy metal, it's basically a layered load, and so you're going to have higher density pellets, and then you're going to have your steel pellets, and your higher density pellets are going to be a little bit smaller than the steel pellets are going to be. So if you look really hard, you'll see the small pellet holes, and then you'll see some of the bigger holes, and that's how you can tell the difference between the steel and the bismuth, and you can kind of see what they're doing there. And it's like you talked about earlier, with the pellets traveling at different speeds and arriving at different times. So, I mean, some people like real tight patterns, some people like real open patterns. I tend to lean on the tight side personally myself. I like to hit a bird with a lot of pellets near. I like to hit them with a lot of pellets close. I like to hit them with a lot of pellets in between, and a lot of pellets far away. Yeah. So, but that's my personal preference. But these tubes allow you to dial it into whatever your personal preference is as well.
Yeah, and again, this is one shot with your gun on a very hot day. The chances of seeing this exact pattern again, even if we'd have shot 10 more times out there this afternoon, are slim to none. So really not concerned with this or this as an average, because you have to look at it as an average. Generally you're not shooting one time when you're wing shooting.
Right.
Unless you're just having a bad day. Birds aren't showing up, but look at it as an average. Don't take one shot as the end-all be-all. That's what this setup's going to do. You have to do your homework and shoot multiple shots with any given combination of shot, shell, choke, and gun setup.
One thing I will tell you, that if I was out and I only did get one shot all morning long, I would be totally happy with this being the one shot that I got. That's for sure.
More than likely, that's going to get it done. Absolutely. Again, this was at 30 yards with 1.25 ounce heavy metal number 4s out of the mid-range upland choke, and this other pattern was done at 40 yards with heavy 12 number 6s, 1.125 ounces. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Out of the long range upland choke. So either one of these patterns is absolutely a killing pattern. I would not be concerned with the small holes you see in them at all. And that's just a representation of, we just circled up a couple real quick. I wanted to show you guys what we got with not a very professional nor comprehensive patterning session this afternoon.
Yeah, if we wanted to really split hairs and get down to it, we could tighten these things up, we could open them up, we could really make it happen. If we had to put all the marbles on the line, we have a couple of tricks still in the bag that we could use to dial all this out exactly where we needed it to be. But it was pretty hot out there. Yeah. We were ready to get back in this AC.
No doubt. All right, so that's about it. We'll go back to the main shop and show the new packaging. And
all right.